The name's Francis Sawyer, but everybody calls me Psycho. Any of you guys call me Francis, and I'll kill you. Ooh. You just made the list, buddy. And I don't like nobody touching my stuff. So just keep your meat hooks off. If I catch any of you guys in my stuff, I'll kill you. Also, I don't like nobody touching me. Now, any of you O's touch me, and I'll kill you. Lighten up, Francis. Yeah. Sorry about the AC. I'll try to noise reduce it the heck out of this video, but a dude's gotta breathe. I am speaking into a headphone, thus the audio should be getting more of my voice without the stuff in the background influencing it. The key is to minimize the influencer node sounds and to break free outside of parameters of conditioning. I learned that by cyber sleuthing the Eglin Air Force Base PSYOP out of Reddit. Everybody knows it, but we're basically 1930s Russia. We can talk on the side and whisper truths, but when we're in public, it's God that Putin is a regular guy. We won't think about the $800 billion he has. I'm digressing. So Francis came first on the screenshot portion of the show. I like to take a screenshot from before the actual real screenshots. So that's Francis from Stripes. Then we move to Franco, Franc analysis. These are some reruns. I used the same file name. So this is Franco 1. Uncontrolled opposition is, what's his face? Jaeger? Who's that guy? The really boring, he keeps talking about Colonial Pipeline. Robbie Jaeger? I think that's a fake name. I'm getting tingly spider type sensations. That Jaeger is brothers with the other dude on Boots on the Ground. With Mindy Misty. She's military. Okay, we're looking at, this is an old screenshot, so the stats on the right side are probably a lot lower than what he is at now. The timing of Franc analysis, his beginning, lines up with a channel that I found. It was devoted to sports. I think it's Franco, and that's what we'll get to. Now, if we go back to the featured channels on Franco's channel page, there's HMO Podcast. So he was on this other one. That's not even the one I'm talking about. I found another one. I already found HMO Podcast quite a while back, but I found another one with the guy. He's not on camera, but it sounds exactly like Franco. Now, later on in this show, we're going to go over some H.A. Goodman with Melvin Goodman. Melvin Goodman is a CIA agent. And if you observe both of them together, then they're obviously father, son. It's obvious. Or uncle, nephew. It's obvious. Or it's obvious to someone with Asperger's who can make that type of analysis through body language and facial topography. I was working just on Franco's voice to line him up. There's MSN hijacks combo couch footage. That was the Sicknick case where combo couch ended up filming evidence for police, for Capitol Police. I asked back then, is this Rat Snitch TV's first arrest? So okay, here we go. We're into screenshots I took maybe an hour ago, an hour or two. I found this other channel that I'll get to. I haven't mentioned it yet. We haven't gone into it yet. But I did notice this other sports channel with just audio. Very well put together. The guy sounds exactly like Franco. On Franco's recent video, he funnily enough, that is something I'd be interested in for grammar.
In the MLB, over 60 million fans go to games every season, and with many seats close to the action, sometimes fans can interact with players or even get involved in the plays. Today, we're going to look back at some of the most memorable fan interactions in baseball. Fans fighting players. Sometimes fans get angry at players for one reason or another, and sometimes players get angry at fans as well. It rarely becomes physical, but there have been times when it does. In 1984, the Atlanta Braves were playing the San Diego Padres in Atlanta. It all started when Braves starting pitcher Pascual Perez hit Alan Wiggins on the first pitch of the game.
And such complications are a setup for the disaster we saw last night, which is continuing on to this morning. And it was also discovered via FEC records and reported by the Washington Post.
For as good as Babe Ruth was, many people call this the worst trade of all time. The Boston Red Sox won the World Series in 1918, which was Ruth's second to last year on the team, and after that, it was 86 years until they won their next World Series in 2004. That drought was known as the Curse of the Bambino. Number 12, Jack Cust. Jack Cust played 10 years in the big leagues from 2001 to 2011.
Funnily enough, or funny enough, funnily doesn't sound like a real word, but hear me out. Franco showed a clip from when he was on the HMO podcast. I did download some of that, and you'll see he was not the cherry guy that he is of today. This is where we get to it. There's a channel called Ike G Sports. It's got over 8,000 subscribers. It joined October 11th, 2018. It's got 4.7 million views. I took screenshots. The person made 13 videos. His last one was 5 months ago. The one before that was 10 months, 11 months, a year. So you start to see a bit of an overlap from HMO and then to the new channel that Franco has called Frank Analysis. It came out of nowhere. They must like his voice. COINTELPRO must like his voice. The funny thing, well, what I noticed about his channel was he'd have some very boring topics for sports, and those didn't get many views. Those got the less views, the 25K views, 25,000. MLB, Major League Baseball, top 10 worst trades of all time. It's like, boring. But, or here's another boring one that didn't get it that many views, relatively speaking. Top 10 coldest NFL games of all time. That's his last one, 52,000. It's like you look at it, it's like boring. You just know it's boring. And he's boring when we finally listen to this guy. So when he had the more clickbaitish titles, topics, and thumbnails, he got the page views. So we had the greatest MLB beefs of all time, MLB worst first pitches of all time with the beauty queen to the thumbnail. His big home run of the video, 1.6 million views. MLB craziest fan interactions of all time. If you go to those videos, you'll find that there was a bit of a cult movement toward making fun of this guy droning on. He showed zero enthusiasm. I'll put this and that into this video here. People who know my shtick know that I tend to go through screenshots. I tend to mention what downloads I have, and I do the audio part separate, and then I mix and match and pull off some type of amateur filmmaking, stuff like that. I think the algorithm took me to this sports channel called Ike G Sports. Because if I'm watching Frank Analysis, and Ike G Sports is Frank Analysis, whoever that guy is in real life, if that's even his real name, Franco, they sound very similar. I forgot what I was talking about there, sorry. And that's it. Now we'll just take a quick look at, well, sometimes I notice other screenshots. Maybe I should throw some in. I'm looking at my screenshots. I see Suzanne Murphy. People might hear that name and go, who's that? And I wouldn't even try to Google her or anything on that. If you get into my investigation, it's in the archive, you'll see it's Suzanne.